All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're peeling back the layers of an aircraft that's really more of a flying computer than just a metal tube, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. So what really makes this thing so revolutionary? Let's get into it.
Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the 787's totally new kind of body. Then we'll pop into the cockpit. From there, we'll dive into its digital brain and its all-electric heart, and then we'll tie it all together to see what it actually means for you, the passenger. First up, the material the plane is actually made of. This is probably its single most famous innovation, and honestly, it's the key that unlocks everything else we're going to talk about. Get this. More than half of this plane is not metal. Just think about that for a second. For the first time ever, a major airliner is built mostly from these advanced composite materials. It's a total game changer compared to the aluminum that's basically defined aviation for, 100 years? So what is this stuff? It's called carbon fiber reinforced plastic, or CFRP for short. Just imagine weaving together threads that are stronger than steel but as light as plastic, all into one solid piece. And the payoff is huge. You get an airframe that's not just lighter and way more fuel efficient, but it's also incredibly durable. It doesn't rust or get tired like metal does. Okay, so this whole revolutionary idea, it doesn't just stop with the plane's skin. Let's head up front to the cockpit, what pilots call the glass office. And you'll see it's a completely different world from the old-school cockpits you might be picturing.
So instead of a sea of old-fashioned dials, pilots are looking at 5 massive LCD screens. And they've got dual head-up displays, which, get this, project the most critical flight info right into their line of sight, so they don't even have to look down. Plus, by cutting down on the number of physical parts, engineers call them line-replaceable units, the whole plane just gets simpler, lighter, and, you guessed it, way easier and cheaper for airlines to maintain.
Okay, now we're going to go even deeper into the invisible network that lets the whole aircraft act like one single intelligent machine. And this is where the 787 really shows its true colors as a 21st century machine.
All right, the secret sauce to the 787's electronics is something called the Common Core System, or CCS. The easiest way to think about it is as the plane's brain and its entire nervous system, all rolled into one package.
So what's so smart about the CCS? Well, it's all about centralizing everything. Instead of having miles and miles of single-purpose wires, all the systems talk to each other over a common fiber optic network. Seriously, think of it like an internal internet just for the airplane. This means huge functions like flight controls or cabin pressure are basically just software apps now, and that makes the whole plane incredibly flexible, super easy to upgrade, and, you're seeing a theme here, so much simpler to take care of.
Okay, so you have all this digital brain power, but it needs electricity, right? Well, that brings us to the 777's heart. And this is yet another area where Boeing basically threw out the old rule book and just started from scratch. So here's the fundamental shift. On older planes, they'd literally bleed hot compressed air off the engines to power all sorts of other systems. It gets the job done, but it's really inefficient and it puts a ton of stress on the engines. The 787, it just says nope to all that. It's what we call a more electric airplane, using powerful generators to run things like the brakes, anti-ice systems, and even the air conditioning.
And this more electric design, it's just a huge win for efficiency. See, by letting powerful generators handle all that other stuff, the engines can focus on what they're actually for, pushing the plane forward. It takes a huge load off of them, and that translates directly into burning less fuel, having fewer complicated parts, and, you know it, easier maintenance. Okay, let's recap. We've got a composite body, a digital brain, and an electric heart. That's all awesome for the pilots and the airline's bottom line, but what about us, the passengers? Let's bring this all home and talk about what it actually feels like to fly on a Dreamliner.
And this, right here, is where all that brilliant engineering pays off for you. It really all comes back to that carbon fiber body. Because it's so much stronger than aluminum, it means the plane can handle way more internal pressure. And that lets Boeing pressurize the cabin to a lower altitude, one that feels a lot more like you're just, on the ground.
So what you get is a cabin that feels like you're at 6,000 feet, not the usual 8,000 feet you find on most other planes. Now, that 2,000-foot difference, it might not sound like a big deal, but trust me, your body feels it. It means you're less tired, less likely to get a headache, and the air isn't as dry. Bottom line, you actually get off the plane feeling better.
So you see, it all adds up to a genuinely better experience for us. You've got that lower altitude, plus they can add more humidity to the air, so it's just more comfortable to breathe. And that composite body?
That's what allows for those huge windows you always hear about, the ones you can dim with a button. And to top it off, those new engines and all the advanced materials make the whole ride remarkably quiet.
You know, when you put it all together, the Dreamliner's blueprint, this idea of being lightweight, digital, and electric, it really did set a whole new standard for flying. It proved that an airplane could be just as much about its software as its hardware. It really just leaves you wondering, right? What's the next big leap in aviation going to look like?